today on the Tim Marner Podcast Show, I've got my mate Marky fucking Snape. Mark, how long have we known each other for?
It's about 5 years.
Is it 5 years?
About 5, 6 years.
I think it might be a bit more than that.
A bit more than that.
Yeah. So just tell everybody who you are and tell them about your background. Should we start off with the Marines?
Right, go on.
Go on. So tell me about that. How you got into...
Joining was 18. 26th of February 2001. 804 troop. Passed out as an original. And then went into heavy weapons. So I was a GPMG specialist, an HMG specialist, like missiles. Went to Afghanistan at 19 years old. Then came back from that. We was attached to Special Forces and we went out to Iraq for the initial invasion. Come back from that, I did a tour of Northern Ireland. Left the Marines when I was in 2006 and went straight into bodyguarding from there. The first client was Paul McCartney. So I was 23 years old looking after Paul McCartney. That was a bit...
surreal.
Well, to be honest, not really, because I'm only 23. It was my dad's era, so my dad was more impressed than what I were.
Yeah.
But then in 2008, I went out to Iraq, working for the US government, looking after government officials out there, down in Basra. I did 3 years working for the Americans, then I did 3 years working for the Iraqis within the city. So I went from working on the Cobb and then went into the city, working for them. Came out of Iraq, and that's when I set up the Iron Pit, which you helped brand.
Yep.
I remember the phone call. I remember where I were talking about it. You got it instantly what I was about, and we came up with something. Well, I came up with something that was absolutely fantastic. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out for several reasons.
So, when I met you, when we were doing the Iron Pit, there was a lot more edge about you, weren't you? You were a little bit more irrational, not quite sure what Mark's going to kind of turn up. Is he going? You're always cool with me, but like I could just see this other side of you. What was the reason for that? Was that coming from the Marines? I don't think we've ever talked about PTSD or anything before, have we, together?
I think the thing at the time, the transition of coming home and setting up a business, it's like, I look back at myself now and think, I bit off a lot more than I could chew with the gym. Even though I got it to a level of reputation was well known, it just wore me down. And to the point where, coming home from Iraq and you're getting used to being blown up, and you become so desensitized to things like that. When you come home, there's nothing going on. It's boring. So then you end up drinking, and then unfortunately when I had the gym, I ended up taking coke during the day just because I was bored, and that started to really affect the business. I was never happy in my home, but I'd just come home from Iraq and I had the business, and I had my dog, and just everything was getting a lot. When you're not happy at home, and it was just a vicious circle. And then I started taking steroids on top of that when I was competing. It was just a recipe.
You were fucking massive, mate, weren't you?
I look back at myself now, 22 stone, and that is enormous.
Because you were at the British, weren't you?
UK's.
Yeah.
UK's Strongest Man, Ultimate Strongman. Yeah. That's Glenn Ross's organisation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did Northern's 3 times, competed at England's Strongest Man twice, and UK's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And then I was the strongest I've ever been, but in the worst condition in my life. With everything, the cocktail of alcohol, drugs, steroids, it was...
Where was your head at then? When you're taking all them things at one time,
honestly, I don't know.
How dark are you thinking?
Well, it's not that it was ever I was addicted to anything, but I've got such an addictive personality that when I like something, it starts to become a habit. Right? You're constantly thinking about it, and you know, I look back on myself now and think, I just didn't explode doing the things I was doing. My body under so much stress of just all the stuff, the chemicals in me. You know.
So are you taking these to block anything out, or are you doing it to more fill a hole that wasn't there anymore? Because like obviously you've gone from not getting blown up, watching your back, and you're in with a team, to then running a business and everybody's not got that team mentality and they're all having a little piece.
Yeah, the transition of trying to be a civvy for me was so difficult, honestly. And being in the military, it's like you ask anybody that's military. We came back from Iraq and we was put in the golf pavilion at 4-5 and crates and crates of beer. Said, right, we'll let you all out when you've decompressed. But alcoholism, honestly, alcohol is the worst thing in the world. I'm scared of it now, absolutely petrified of it. I can't drink. I've gone that far the other way now. Don't get me wrong, I like having a wine and a couple of beers, but it's like I have a 3-drink rule. Kind of sometimes. 3's enough for me.
Yeah.
Whereas I used to be sniffing, drinking a bottle of gin, bottle of red wine, and still going for days. I'm not about that anymore. How
did you turn it around? Because you went off the radar for a bit, didn't you? Because I didn't see you for ages.
Do you know what I did? I started. What's what I'm looking for? I started taking it easy on myself. I kind of went, do you know what?
But what was the point that you thought I need to start taking it easy myself? Did somebody tell you
that?
Or?
England's strongest man. The first event, it was deadlifts, and I pulled a 350 car deadlift.
Fucking hell.
And if I'd have pulled, I've had problems with my hamstrings.
Yeah.
And if I'd have pulled that one more time, it would just put me back another 6 months. And I thought, do you know what? I ain't.
Did you say it's not worth it in your head?
Because I'm so competitive. I'm absolutely fuming.
Yeah.
That I perform so badly.
Yeah.
You know, and getting injured, because I've always wanted to be, whatever I do, I want to be the best at it.
Yeah.
You know, I got into strongman and I was good at things, but I never took it seriously as an athlete. And I thought, nah, not for me. Dude, it's a false.
In that moment?
Yeah, it was everything. Everything. The drugs, it all stopped it instantly.
Wow.
Yeah, I was fuming. I was fucking fuming with myself. I had help, and this saved my life. Cannabis oil.
CBD?
No. The
THC.
THC stuff, because I was using coke to. I was in a bubble because I'd just had a failed relationship, a failed business. My dad died a few years before, and I didn't know how to grieve. So the alcohol and the drugs were making me feel better. But if anything, it was pushing, it was suppressing it, and the more I took it, the further I got away from it. I took cannabis oil, and instantly went, I don't need any of that. This is enough for me.
The THC?
The THC stuff, yeah. And from there, I remember I was living at home with my mum, and my tenant moved out, so I moved back into my apartment, and I went in my apartment, and it hadn't changed for the whole duration I've had it rented out, and I sat there, no TV. And honestly, I hit a low point, and I thought, is this it? And Bert came over and licked me. I went, oh, I've got a dog, and I live right on the doorstep of Rivington, Anglesark, Great Hill.
Yeah.
And next morning, took him walking, and I had cannabis oil, and I all these times of, do you know what? I've never had a beer and gone, let's go for a walk.
Yeah.
But I have cannabis oil and go, right, I will go out all day. I'll be out at first light, on my own, with Bert, and I'll just go out. And because being ex-Royal Marine, a 30-miler is one of your commando tests. So a 30-miler is quite iconic. So for me, it was like, I took myself back to day one, week one, started training properly. I knew I already had the structure of what I needed to do.
You're basically going back to basics.
Yes, to basics, mate, honestly. Started out, and I didn't try and do too much. I just started getting fitter and fitter. And I reckon I've done, well, in the last 2 years, I've had this watch. I've clocked over 1,000 miles running and yomping. And I started 3 years before that. So over this last 5-6 years, I've done thousands and thousands of miles.
And you've gone from 22 stone to what?
No, I've 17 stone.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah. And now I'm at the absolute fittest I've ever been. Fittest and strongest combined I've ever been. At the minute, there's nothing I don't think I can achieve. You know.
Talk to me about the THC then. So obviously, like you and Bert are there. You take the THC. What does that THC do?
Just breaks down barriers. Just allows me to access emotions, thoughts, feelings. It unlocked a lot of memories, and the memories weren't always good. And these memories that you put away because, you know, traumatic events you put to a side and you try and forget.
Could you just give me one, mate, just as a bit of a...
do you know, it's like a chat in my childhood. You know, me and my sister, my mum and dad split up when I was 10. You know, and there's a lot of trauma surrounding that. So there's things I'd forgotten about that when you're out walking, you go, wow. And the amount of times I've been out walking, I've burst into tears and not cared about it where I've been, and it's empathising for yourself as a kid and just thinking, fucking hell, it was difficult then, and being all right with it. So once that thought and feeling's done, it's done and done, it evaporates. So then
has someone taught you to do this?
No, and this is everything.
This is like, you know what I mean, mate? It's like a lot of people go to therapy and stuff like, how have you figured this out? Just having a dog and having the ability just to be able to walking and talking to yourself. Because but not many people want to do that, mate. Is it the THC that's let you do that?
I think with THC, it slows everything down. It's like...
Is it the same high as like smoking? I've never had it, so I can't. I'm trying to.
It's a different high. Do you know, you have a joint and it's kind of like a heavy, smoggy. Whereas when you have the cannabis oil, it's almost like a switch turns and everything becomes HD. Your focus becomes zeroed in. Food tastes better. The colours, and like I said, you can access.
I need to try it. I need to try it. Just so I can understand that.
Yeah.
But I'd love the fact that you're talking to yourself, mate, and you're like bringing up all these memories and stuff, and kind of dealing with them, and you're almost kind of forgiving yourself, are you, in these moments?
Well, there's nothing. The way I look at it now is there's been past trauma. So, right. When I stopped with the strongman, I retrained in childcare. I was working for a school, for a charity called Cheerfulness, Educational Foundation.
What was the reason for that? Why did you choose that path?
I needed to do something different. I just needed to... A friend of mine presented an opportunity and I had to think about it and to work with kids. I think I was in a position where I needed help myself. I needed to break this mould of what I was doing. So this opportunity came about, and this is when I was still taking coke and drinking really heavy. But when we started doing this childcare, one of the stipulations was we had to do a 6-month child therapy course. And it wasn't like child therapy, like someone's child therapy. It's like inner child therapy. It's learning all about like little Mark inside. And I remember going there, and what we were doing therapy through art. So, for example, like we could have a brick road, and you could have a hard time in your life would be a pothole, or if there was a difficult time, you could have a road. So you draw colours for emotions. Yellow could be happy, red could be sad. So they used all sorts of different exercises, and I remember every time I was going, I would get really anxious, and it was all to do with my dad, because all my upset and my trauma, the majority of it is from not grieving for my dad back then. So when I was going to these sessions, they would start, and it was my hardest to, I didn't want to get upset in front of these people. I think there was about 12 of us started and 8 of us finished, but we were all working together. And these strangers, I didn't want to divulge any sort of my information because, you don't know them.
Yeah.
Don't trust them.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are. So over time, things started coming out, and I wasn't going to give it up.
You weren't going to surrender to the
process?
I
wasn't going to give it up. I talk about other things, but I weren't going to talk about my dad. So when we were going, one of my best mates, Tony, he's one of the blokes that started walking with me, and we've done thousands of miles. And we've started like looking at things like LSD.
Yeah.
Now, when you start doing research with LSD, it's documented with soldiers for post-traumatic stress. Yeah. So we managed to get all this, and we started off with like we'd have a quarter, and then we'd go out, and then we'd just feel how it is. Well, this one
again, you're doing this yourself, no facilitator. You just like
just going
it's
out.
How you fucking do things.
Just going out. Anyway, I had this acid tab, and I wasn't going to go out. I was going to sit in my apartment and just see what happens. And there was a split second of my dad. It was just it was like a flash image of my dad. So I went to the shopping centre, got loads of cleaning stuff, loads of food. I got to my apartment, so I had this acid tab, and I started a full one, yeah. So I started cleaning. But when you start cleaning, I had my music on. Honestly, my apartment from corner to corner was immaculate. I remember I was looking at the sink and the shapes in the sink from the bubbles, and it was. And all of a sudden, I went, I'm not even thought about my dad. And as soon as that happened, mate, every single time my dad would come up, I got this energy inside. I was like,
what energy was it?
I don't know. Honestly, it was. Now I know it was an energy, but then I didn't have a clue what it was.
Right.
So I remember, went downstairs, and I was like, right, what is going on? Because I weren't off my head. It was just
like you'd not lost control. You were like still in control of it.
Yeah, I was. So right, I've asked for this. I went upstairs, and me and my dad used to have cheese and wine nights, and for something made me do it. I put a glass of wine, and I put
one for him, one for you.
Honestly, right, put a glass of wine there for my dad. Cooking me tea, and I went right. Went to turn around. I went. I can't. There was something. There was
an energy.
Exactly. There was something there. I went. I could feel it. I went. So I turned around, put it down. Me and my dad's song was Dire Straits, Brother in Arms.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought, right, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Dire Straits, Brother in Arms. Put it on. Went to turn around. So I had my tea. And Pink Floyd, Wish You Was Here came on.
Yeah.
Honestly, mate, I didn't put it on.
It's one of my favourites.
And it came on, and I just went, pushed me through to the side, and I cried. this cry came from the bottom of my toenails, mate. It came out, and I was snot coming out my nose. I was like that. And halfway through me crying out, I've never cried like that. Halfway through, I burst out laughing. I was like, that, it was almost like a bubble of emotion and this great 8 years I clung on for that. And it came out, and honestly, it was like to the point where now I can sit here and talk about that incident, that moment, and that moment changed my life, and I can talk about it and not get upset. I can feel it, I can feel it, but I don't get upset, because it's for me, it's a life-changing moment. It's just changed my life, that, and through taking LSD. I would never.
I know, but we can't recommend people doing that because you're a different person.
Yeah, I understand.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, you've been to darkness. You can go out into Rivington for 30 miles on your own and live in your own headspace. You know, you've been to some places, but other people, I feel that they need that experience, but they need a facilitator. They need a guide with them to go through that. I mean, fucking brave as fuck, that, mate. Taking a fucking full tab. When's the last time you took LSD? Before that moment. You're not scared. You're not thinking, fuck me.
Nah, fuck that.
You weren't scared at all. You're thinking, I'm going to fucking, I'm going to go down an hole.
No, not at all. Because you're not forgetting, I've been a Royal Marine. I've been in hostile environments all my life. Sitting in my apartment, asking, I don't think I would have got to that unless it was through using LSD.
Yeah,
definitely, because he just allowed me to. It just allowed me to go somewhere different.
But because your head's been down rabbit holes, some dark rabbit holes at times, because of like doing that thing, are you not thinking when you take that LSD that you could have potentially gone down one of those holes? No. What was it then? How did you not think you were going to, because of the Marines and stuff like that? It not even cross your mind?
No, because if you've got negativity in you, if you've got negative thoughts, if you're that sort of person, then if you let your imagination run away with you, you can have a bad trip. But I'm totally aware of what I'm doing, and I've never gone to a point where I've not a clue what's happening. Yeah, it's just having confidence, and when you're out on the ground, it's beautiful. You're seeing the land in a completely different way. You feel like you're part of it when you're out there. It's beautiful.
I know. I try to explain while camping to people, and I just can't explain it. When you're out there and you're doing the you kind of, call the mountain kind of like a feminine energy, because you can hug you, or you can just rip your fucking head off. But that experience, mate, fucking hell, what a cathartic moment.
What I've realised as well is, like, when I've always had, so like my dad's birthday, I would have got off my head. I would have got out drinking. It was Father's Day, I'd have done the same. Yeah. Because you have all this energy building up and not knowing how to deal with it. Yeah. Drinking and sniffing was the way I used to deal with it. But now, I don't. I'll go out. I will go out and I'll do a 30 miler. I will go out and run. Like every time there's something that is a day to remember the date, I will do something that morning just so that I know I'm nice and calm. Energy is completely depleted, and I'm just happy.
That's it, mate. I just think the last time I talked to you, and that fucking edge that you always have, it's just like you're total different. You talking about that LSD thing, if you would have told me like 5 years ago that you were going to, like, this is what you're going to do, I'd be like, there's fucking no way you'd be doing shit like that, you.
It's worked. Yeah. It's worked for me. And it will continue to. It's like I'm not saying that taking LSD is something I'm always going to do, or it's the knowing how to deal with when I start getting worked up, going out running, going out yomping. It's the only go out for a yomp, come back after 10 hours. I'm a different bloke.
Yeah.
All the problems you have, you've got 10 hours to just chill out, think about it, and I always go home a better man. Always.
What? How did being at the Marines affect you at all? Did you have PTSD from the Marines or anything like that? Obviously, I don't know much about it, mate, but obviously you must have seen things like...
So, talking about PTSD, when I'd completely deny if I had it, because for me, kind of having post-traumatic stress is like, oh, you look weak sometimes. No, I'm sound,
yeah.
You know, and one of the problems I've had is not talking and not processing things. So when I had Bert and I moved back home to my apartment, the tenants, not the tenants, the people who lived there in the other apartments put a complaint in, and they was going to get Bert evicted. Now, I had a breakdown. I had, 3 breakdowns. The thought of somebody taking my dog, I completely, I didn't know what to do, you know. And I went to school, and we've got access to counsellors there. I went there, again, brought down, saying like, they're going to take the only thing that's...
essentially keeping you alive.
Yeah. And it was down to Jo, who was counselling. She wrote me a letter talking about that, saying that, you know, animals, don't underestimate the value or power of an animal. You know, Mark's been to Afghanistan, has done this, you know, he's got post-traumatic stress, and sent it to the management company, which had gone from me going, I've not got post-traumatic stress at all, to accepting it. But the management company then sent out a letter to every single resident saying I had a medical condition, that I had post-traumatic stress, that I'd been to, like, divulging these things. I went mad. I went absolutely mental at them, because I was almost embarrassed that everyone knew about it. But, you know, we came to an agreement, and Bert stayed. But he's the reason. When you've got lads with post-traumatic stress, you need an out. You need something to keep you connected to your past life. And for me, being out on the moors in the pissing down rain, wind, I had a condition, because it's almost like a self-harm sometimes. When you go out, you push yourself. I absolutely batter myself. I did I went out last year, I did 64 miles in 23 hours. I had all my kit on. It must have been about 50, 60 pound Bergen I went out for. And that was because the reason why that were, I had to put Bert down last year.
Oh, sorry, mate.
He bit a little girl next to my daughter.
Oh, mate.
Honestly, it brought me out. I didn't stop crying for 3 days. I was working with him down in London as well, so it's like, so I had him all this time, and he definitely, he 100% saved my life. But then he unfortunately, there was 3 instances. He bit a little girl in a pub. He bit my missus, and he bit a little girl next to my daughter. I was like, so it was literally within 45 minutes of him doing it, I took the little girl home, told the mum, took him to the vet, and I was like, mate, I'll see you again. But daft sod.
Hates you, larvae.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I did that 64 mile, is because I had all this, what did I have? It was just, I'm not going to say it was anger, aggression. It wasn't it was just a force that needed to be dealt with. And going out, did 60. It didn't stop. Didn't stop for
just something that's out of your control. It's something you absolutely love to say, and you're just like, fucking hell.
Yeah, but I look back on it now, and it was 100% the right decision.
Yeah. Because
Athena's now running round, and
he could have done it again.
It was unsafe, and it's the best place for him. You know, I could have given him away to somebody, but he would just spend forever and a day just waiting for me. You know, so it's not all bad. You know, he's up. I buried him up on Great Hill.
No, did you?
So
was that your kind of like place? Was it?
Right. So
because me and LB have got a place, and when he goes, I'll be doing the same thing.
So I put him down on the Tuesday. I had to go to work the next morning. So when I came back, it was the first thing I did. So I come back on the Wednesday, went down to the vets, and they'd had him in refrigeration. So he was frozen solid. I was like,
it's a big fucking dog.
I was like, come here. So it was like about 40 kilograms. Yeah. So I got this big duffel bag, put him in, and I went to, do you know where Great Hill is?
Yeah.
Started at the bottom of White Coppice.
Yeah.
So
it's a fucking trek, that, mate.
So I had him on my back, but I had this big shovel sticking out. So I'm going up at sunset. So I'm going up, and there's people coming down, and they're looking at me, and I was like, and I burst out crying, "Oh, speed dog, I'm going to bury it." And all right, so you look like I had it. Well, I had a dead body. So I got up there. Put him down, got the bag open, cut it open, and the day before I put him down, I had him in groomers. So he was immaculate. He was absolutely immaculate. So I dug this grave. So I'm sat down. Right, I thought, right, I'll have a smoke. I'll just embrace this. So I'm having a smoke. Some eyes. Crying my eyes. I didn't realise, because he was frozen solid, I was in his head as an armrest. I was like,
oh, that's good.
So yeah, and the thing is, I snapped out of it. I buried him, and that was it then. I went back a year later and just stood with him. I set off early morning for mine, and I got so he faces east, so he gets the sunset and he gets the sunrise. Sorry, he gets the sunrise and sunset every day.
It's good that, mate.
Oh, mate. So I go up there. The day I was stressed. I thought, right, I'm going to go for a run. Set off running. I did about 27 and a half miles. But I got up there to the top of Great Hill, and it's just like, it's all this stress, just let it go. And it's such a good place to, it's a good focus point to go to. If I feel stressed, right, I'm just going to go for a walk. Use that as somewhere to go to.
Yeah. Do your barber at York?
Yeah.
What's next for you then? What you thinking of doing now then? What's your sort of, after you've been through all this for a reason, haven't you? And it's got to be to help other people out who are going through similar situations and stuff.
I love helping people, honestly. It's because I know what I do works.
Yeah.
I've worked with young kids. I was mentoring them young kids, and I was taking them up on the moors, and you know, it's a space away where you put your phone down, that stays there. You walk, and you talk, and you have good food. When I go out on these jumps, there's some of the lads that come with me, some of the funniest humans you'll ever come across, and the laughs that we have, it's unbelievable. So, as far as helping people, you know, I love helping people, but it's hard to help people that don't want to be helped, you know. So it's these people that come on these jumps with me are everybody that just wants to be there and enjoy a good time. And you come in?
I'm there, mate. You know I'm there. You know I'm there. 100%.
Yeah. Like I said to you, it's hard for me to explain.
Yeah.
Because everybody's different. Everyone's got a different story. Do you know what I mean? So there's no protocol. All the protocol is turn up, start walking, have a laugh.
Yeah.
And that's where it happens.
Yeah. But I feel like you need to reach more people. We'll talk on it after this a little bit more, can't we? But I feel that is definitely your calling, doing this. Got to commercialise it. See how you can make some money out of it, but help a lot of people at the same time.
Money be nice.
Yeah.
Money helps.
It's just so you got choices.
Yeah. Like the one thing that I realised that when I had the gym, I set up the gym because I thought I love the gym.
Yeah.
I make some money from it. And as soon as I tried to start making money from it, I hated it.
Yeah. Things with you, mate, you're like a magnet. Once you start going, you've got your thing, people just like magnetised to you. You've just got that in you. People just know that you're not out for yourself, you're out for other people.
Yeah.
I just feel that we can set this brand up and get this right. People will just come to it, mate, just for the right reasons. Yeah.
I'm up for that.
The fucking LSD thing's fucking blowing minds, you know. This is how, what's it? I could not do that on my own. Obviously, I've told you I'm about to start doing a mushroom ceremony, get into ayahuasca and all that kind of thing, but I couldn't do it on my own. I don't know if I've got too much darkness in me, or I'm scared of going down that thought process I had before, that it might turn me into that, and I go whoop like that. I know, Mark, but you're just built from something different than I am.
No, don't be scared. Honestly, it's that hesitation that's stopping you progressing.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be all right with everything. There's nothing in my past now that's going to pop up and I'm going to go, oh, fucking hell. There's nothing.
I know, Mark, but
there's nothing.
I've been out on nights out and I've had started off with LSD and then gone down, did a little fucking para and fucking in the corner getting fucking paranoid and shit. And I'm like, that's what scares me, about me getting to that thing where I'm just like,
what's put it in your head that that's what's going to happen?
Myself, my own insecurities.
Well, maybe you're not an inside person to do it. Maybe you're an outside person to do it.
What do you mean?
Like, there's people that like sitting in dark rooms and take it, and you know, they get all sorts of messages but I'm not that sort of person.
I'm not. I think you're absolutely right. I think I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to do that and then get out into the mountains and start walking and stuff.
When you
think what it was, mate. I think maybe obviously in those environments, I'm at Sankey's, I'm at fucking Hacienda and what's it. Obviously, there's a lot of negative energy of people around there, and obviously I'm taking in that energy off other people.
Yeah.
Where really, in my own headspace, on my own, you know, I'm really quite a positive person.
Yeah.
I think I'll be all right, to be honest. But I've got that hesitation, that bit of fear where I'm just like, fuck me, I just don't want to get a power trip, and I'm like, whoa, down fucking Alice in Wonderland, fucking.
Like I say, you've got to create your setting.
Yeah.
Your settings, and it's what leads up to what you do to lead up to it. You know, are you eating right?
Yeah.
Are you sleeping right?
Yeah.
Are you training right? Are you stretching? You know, your fluid intake. Are you fasting? What sort of food you're eating? All these sort of things affect your well-being. So if you come for example, if you come for a yomp with me a week before, it's not a case of, you know, you have to be strict with your diet, but you've got to be really conscious about what you're doing. You know, I've stripped out gluten out of my diet. I've all dairy. I don't have dairy. I steam all my food. You know, there's all different ways. There's my way I've done it. You know, I've got down from 22 stone to 17 stone doing the way I do it. And I like training the way I do, leading up to going out for a yomp, because you know that you're training up to it. That when you're doing a yomp, you're using all your reserves, everything that's in it, all your good food, everything. It's you that's doing it. You're not using energy drinks or sweets it's everything. When I started fasting and doing very little carbs, when you start using all the fats that's on your body, it's next level for training like that.
What sort of fasting do you do then? Do you do like not in the morning, just eat once at night, or what's your fasting?
I'll break fast at 2:00. I'll have a protein, so I'll have a couple of eggs, tomatoes and avocado. And then at tea time, usually about 8 o'clock, I'll just eat for an hour. You know, I never go to bed hungry. But I'm doing, I think it's about 16 hour fast. Yeah, 16 hour fast. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's good that, mate.
Yeah.
We'll talk about, but you've got so much value to give, mate, haven't you? We need to get this on video. We need to like set something up along the side where people can get your value that you can give them.
Yeah.
I just think there's, it's just the way you deliver stuff, mate. There's no one who delivers it like you. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you're saying anything different that other people. It's just the way you are as a person. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I just don't know anybody else who'd like, oh, have you tried LSD? It might help you out with your problems. And then that person go off and do it on their own, in their own apartment. Nobody does that. They search out a facilitator who connects with them and then let that person guide through them. Not you. You just went in your own house, bang that, and then right, fucking bring it on. Whatever's going to bring it on, bring it on.
It's been a crazy. I look back. I've had a crazy life.
Yeah, it's a one-off, mate.
Absolute mental life.
Yeah.
So I think extreme conditions. Like you need extreme.
Yeah.
You need to do something as extreme to that just to level you out.
Yeah. Resilience, mate, is fucking... If someone going to ask me what Mark's net, I'm just like resilient as fuck, aren't you? Just like, when it comes to adversity and stuff like that, mate, you just fucking smash the arse off that thing. Just like, you can literally just like, just battle through anything. It's your biggest, bestest thing about you. That's your best trait, that. Resilience.
I'm not... You've got to be tough. You got to train the way I train, and just to be who I am. It is tough because I've got an ego of being an ex-Royal Marine. I've been a bodyguard, or you know. So you've got this. I've got this. I'm the way I am, and this is the way I'll always be. And it's when I stopped being like this, that's when I started going down the wrong tracks.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
I think everybody needs to watch this space. Mark, I don't think you're even on social media, are you?
It's what?
You're not even on social media, are you? For me to tell people to go and follow you.
Do you know what? I am. But I am. It's Trained by Snapper, which I've had a look at, and that needs changing. So that's
well, everyone will fall Trained by Snapper, and then it'll be changing things very soon. I'm excited to fucking, get this going with you, mate. Honestly, it's gonna be sick. Thank you for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Tim Marner, what? You're branded with the best. Tim Marner, what? You're branded with the best. Tim Marner, what? You're branded with the best. Tim Marner, what?